We need to make it.
Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have any minutes or reports received online?
No, we don't.
Commissioner committee liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
We do have another meeting this afternoon. We'll talk about the senior tax freeze, 2 o'clock. Closed sessions tomorrow. We have communities Thursday morning. Have extension, Cole County Extension Council Thursday evening. Lions Thursday evening. Eastside Business Association Friday morning. Fish fries, I don't know where they're all at.
April has, I gotta take care of the fire auditor.
Yeah, he's not up,
Yeah.
not south.
Yeah, we gotta do state show.
Cattleman's Banquet Saturday night. So, talk about fish and talk about prime rib. Is that getting better than that? I think that's it.
Today, I'm going to listen in a Zoom call or meeting of the Missouri State Tax Commission. I think it's a regularly scheduled meeting. Tomorrow is West Central County Commissioners Legislative Day at the Capitol. Thursday is the communities. Did you mention communities?
Yes.
And also West Side Business Association. That's it.
Yeah, I've got all that. Only other thing, on Thursday, we have the United Way Golf Tournament meeting at 10 a.m., Brian?
9.
Or, I mean, 9. See, the one said 9 and the other one said 10.
Are you representing for us?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Thought somebody's there.
And we need caddies, so, and people drive the refreshment carts, so I'm gonna volunteer.
All right. I don't know, this is make golf balls that way.
Okay, appointment by commission. Appointment of Hal Dooley to complete the remainder of Connie Cunningham's term on the Cole County Parks Committee. Hal had asked to serve, and basically he's the only applicant we had, and Hal will attend the meeting, so, yeah.
I'll make a motion, be in order of the county commission to appoint someone to complete the Connie Cunningham, who, by the way, did an excellent job serving on that committee, to appoint Hal Dooley to serve the remaining term on this Cole County, what do we call this? Parks Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, do we have any commission comments?
Yes. Okay. I had intended to keep something going on the agenda that has drifted off, but it's under old business. I do want to mention that I made contact with the State Tax Commission yesterday, I guess it was, to just check on when the State Tax Commission is going to publish the findings of the latest sales ratio studies, which we know the results of our county, and they're not good. Those will be published shortly, according to the State Tax Commission. But it's worth noting that if you know, we have 115 assessors in Missouri, 114 counties in the city of St. Louis. We break those counties into size, and of those 114 counties, 13 of them are first-class counties. Cole is a first-class county. Then there are 5 charter counties, and when you put the city of St. Louis with it, that's 19, well, you shouldn't call them super, but 19 of the 115 are bigger than the rest, bigger than the second, third, and fourth class counties. And I wanted to know how our county fared with those 19 counties. And the truth is, not good, but it's also a bad group of fellows or gals, because of those 19, 13 are out of compliance with the state tax commission. 13 out of 19. This is 85 of 115 are out of compliance. So it's this kind of a pandemic that's hit the assessors in terms of being compliant with those sales ratio studies. And the very worst county of those 16 that have failed, the worst one is Taney County. The second worst is Cass County, and the third worst is Cole County. So we still have, I think the Board of Equalization may have some extra work come July if our assessor has not shown by Form 11, which he'll file in, whether or not he has followed the memorandum of understanding. So just be prepared. I hope I'm pleasantly surprised that we don't have to do some kind of an order coming to us from the State Tax Commission.
So
That's
if we up some of them this year and say we're gonna look at it in the next assessment year, make adjustments, is that what they're looking for? Or what kind of plan are they wanting to do in a non-assessment year?
Well, I'm not sure it's the non-assessment year isn't, I mean, the assessment year isn't over yet. Now,
And it's supposedly you're gonna do the other half of the county for this.
true, well, per the MOU, 3 townships, 9, 10, and 14, which include almost half of the residences in the county, those were gonna be addressed and raised by up to 13% per the MOU. The other half of the county, which is, he alleges he looked at 2 years ago, we're going to the other half would be adjusted to progress toward fair market value as needed for 2015. And that's what I think will become apparent when the Form 11, which when he turns the numbers in, did he progress and did he live with the MOU that he signed and the 3 commissioners at the State Tax Commission signed? We'll see. And I guess we'll know, I think June the 15th
Yeah, when's the BOE
or
start?
sooner. BOE starts in July.
Yeah,
It is July.
Mhm.
yeah, it has to be finished by the end of July, so.
And BOE is Board of Equalization, in case we're talking too much inside baseball.
Acronyms.
Yeah.
Which I didn't understand what BOE's gonna do.
Nor do I. I don't know how the BOE is gonna do what the flow chart says we have to do. It will
Yeah.
follow their order to the extent we can. But apparently we're in good company with a lot of other counties.
Yeah, including Boone County. I think that
Including
was
Boone.
kind of surprising.
I mean, here's the first-class counties that are non-compliant: Greene, Jasper, Platte, Clay, Jefferson, Boone, Cape, Cass, Cole, Franklin, St. Francis, Taney, and then the city of St. Louis. So, I just wanted to keep that on the radar.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, bids and contracts. Signing a class action service agreement with Optum.
This came to my attention through UMR from our carrier, that there was a class action lawsuit that was filed and I guess has been won, that they were looking for people that, Jill could explain the class action lawsuit maybe better than I could.
Well, what it is UMR is has contacted all of their customers or whatever you want, however you want to characterize yourself, to participate because they're alleging that Walgreens overcharged on prescriptions. And I'm not sure where the posture of it is now. I don't think it's been litigated yet. They're just wanting to see if you're going to be a participating plaintiff in that. It's kind of like the opioids.
Yeah. And this is from 2007 to 2024. And so it would, through Optum, they would do the class action work for us,
Yeah.
since we were with them at that point. And they would, if we were to win anything, they would take 18% of it, and then we would get the rest of it. So I did check with Wall Street and through UMR, and there's no really,
No downside.
yes, there's no downside to that, so.
There's an upside.
But,
We could get settlement
yeah.
money.
So Jill's looked over this,
It's just a very simple agreement.
Yeah.
so I'd ask you if we could,
I would make a motion to sign, to be part of the class action lawsuit versus Walgreens and sign the contract with Optum to participate.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
take
Signing of addendum with the Nun Company.
You guys signed this agreement a couple of weeks ago for the assessor's office with the Nun Company. There wasn't a do not exceed amount on there, so we asked him to get a new contract or an addendum to the contract, which he did, and now there's a do not exceed of $15,000 on there.
Make a motion to sign the addendum to the contract with the Nun Company.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of professional services proposal from Architects Alliance for the shop addition and renovation.
So back late last year, we sent out an RFQ for qualifications from an architect company to do the design work on an expansion to the shop, which is I guess, the southernmost portion of the Monticello facility. And went through that process, reviewed, and determined that Architects Alliance was the best suited to do that project. I've been working with Curtis Gobin on a proposal which he submitted last week. And the cost for this work, and just real quick, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna add on an 84 by 70 foot addition to the building with a 25-foot clear height. Right now, we have 16 feet in the current shop. We'll reconstruct a portion of the existing shop to match that 25-foot height. Also build a wash bay and install air conditioning, an oil burning furnace. We'll have to remove some of the concrete floor in the existing shop to replace the drain that is deteriorating and needs to be replaced to match the new drain that'll be added for the whole floor of the whole completed facility, and then also an oil separator and containment. So the cost from Architects Alliance, their proposal is $106,890, and then there's direct owner cost for the site survey and geotech study for $2,110, and then $10,000, so a grand total of $119,000. And this would be to go through the whole process to determine the exact needs, prepare the design, and with plan specifications and estimate to be able to bid out. We'll get to the point where we'll do, I don't know, in the architect world, we call it 95% plans. In the engineer world, we'll get them to that point, and knowing that, we'll have to determine when we'll have funding to do this. So we won't tidy everything up, complete the whole package until we're ready to bid it, but we'll get it really close to that point so we can have an estimate. So, so again, the grand total for the project to do the design work is $119,000. And we had budgeted in the 806 sales tax budget of $100,000, so we're a little over that, but not terribly over. And we do need to proceed with this project, at least to get the design, to come up with estimates, to be able to search for grants that might be out there, or find other ways to fund it. This is needed. The shop is too short. We can't work on some of our bigger stuff. You can't raise it up fully on the lift. And then there's just capacity concerns, especially as we're taking on more of the county fleet. We would like to add the sheriff and then ultimately EMS. So, again, this is just for the design work. $119,000 would be the total cost.
So would this make so we can accommodate ambulances at some future date?
Yes, this would be the full build out of the shop to be able to add those at a later date.
Okay.
This allows you to put the salt beds on the vehicles under roof as opposed to
Yes.
out in the elements, right?
Yeah, currently we we have the lift outside. You can't get it inside because it's the big gantry crane or whatever, the overhead.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is before our frequent flyer miles we have with Architects Alliance. So we take our frequent flyer miles off of this price, right? Curtis?
Yeah. So, again, we spent quite a bit of time going through, and we had some pretty good proposals, but just determined Architects Alliance with their familiarity with the county, and then also with local contractors and, vendors and other consultants, sub-consultants that have to work on the project. We felt like they were the best choice for this. So, if you guys approve of this, I'll bring to you a contract to sign at a later date, but I just wanted to get this in front of you just to make sure we're good going forward.
So I brought up with you earlier about the budget at 100,000, and so we got 119,000. Then you said the 100,000 is coming out of 806, but that's capital improvements.
The 806 would be the 15% county facilities, part of the
So-
sales tax.
I guess I'm trying to figure out why we're taking that out of the capital improvements part of it, because we usually use that for capital improvements here
Mhm.
in this area. And the only reason I'm gonna kinda argue this, because you all do have your own sales tax coming in for public works. So it should be able to help towards these kind of projects as well. I know it's gonna cut into some of your other money for other projects.
I guess, where do you draw the line? Is it a road or is it not a road? Is that the line that you're using, sort of? If it's a road, it's in the 85%. If it's not, it's in the 15. And whether the 15 is the courthouse here or a county building there, it's
So-
15.
Historically, we have used the 15% for improvements out at the Public Works facility. Most recently was on the fuel, redoing the whole fuel system and the tanks and everything. That was the most recent. Repairs to the building, when we bought that crane, we used the 15% for that. I think the crossover, and sometimes the line's a little blurry, and I think we do need to determine as we go into the next sales tax what that line should be. So that discussion needs to be had, but
Next time.
next time, exactly. For now, I think it's in keeping that this would be a 15%, and, I appreciate what you're saying, Jeff, but,
Yeah, I didn't remember if we talked about it at budget time, if it's
Yeah.
coming out of 806 or not. But,
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't do this for an EMS building with 806.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the way I see this one.
Well, there you go. He's got his own sales tax for his buildings. So that's-
So they got 85% of the half-cent sales tax. And
For road and
EMS
bridge.
only
not
has-
really for buildings, though. It's for road and bridge.
It's road and
improvements.
bridge.
Yeah.
And you could argue that the shop repairs the vehicles that work on the road and bridge, but we're also repairing other county facilities.
Yeah, I mean, I've argued with myself, obviously, that we are doing stuff.
Yep.
When
countywide
you
for us.
argue with yourself, who wins?
I'll tell you what, it's a long,
It's a draw.
drawn-out affair, and I'm glad you all don't have to partake in it. So, it's just something I was just kicking around, because we got a lot of stuff that needs to be done around here. And I know y'all got a lot of stuff that y'all need to do as well. But, like I say, we wouldn't use it for EMS, and I know they've got their sales tax, 3/8.
Just say, you got the final decision, it's up to you, I mean.
It's less than that, because you roll back 60% for its property tax, so half a percent, basically, so.
40% half.
Well, I mean, I think we did already agree to do it this way, it's kind of something I wanna consider.
It was budgeted that way, right?
Yeah, it was.
806, yeah.
I didn't wanna let Eric off too easy today.
Over the 5 years of the current capital improvements, time, and we're in year 3,
We're in year 4, actually.
year 4.
Yeah.
It has grown, or it has revenue in excess of what was projected.
Mhm.
So although 19% on one item seems like high, we are, the bucket has got enough money in it to do it, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I think we're tracking about, when the whole sales tax is said and done for the 5-year period, about 20% over what we budgeted for, so it's kind of in line with that, but.
I'm good.
I'm gonna make a motion to proceed with approval of the professional services. You will bring the contract
Yes.
later,
To award it to him then.
to award it to Architects Alliance. Yes.
Okay. Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Approval and signing of Health Department irrigation service contract.
This one's a little bit easier. We installed the irrigation system out at the health department last fall, and with that brings annual service, cleaning it out and prepping it for winter and that kind of thing. And so all in one, they did the installation, and we have a contract for the yearly service for this year. It's $235. And this will be managed by the Parks Department, and then also it'll come out of the Parks budget, the facilities landscaping part of the budget. So just need signing of this agreement. Yeah.
That's a park.
Well, that's when we developed the Parks Department.
I might give this one to Harry now.
We added in that the Parks Department would also maintain county landscaping facility improvements, so that's how that evolved.
So when mothers are taking their kids there for shots, they say, we're not going to the health department, we're going to the park.
Well,
That front yard is
you can ask Christie that.
So we can have picnics there and everything. Just
Can.
All right, good. I'll make a motion to approve and sign the health department irrigation service contract with All in One.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Amendment to the Sheriff's Department uniforms.
This is amendment with Leon Uniform Company. The sheriff's department just needed to add 2 badges to their current contract.
Two badges.
Just 2 badges, 2 different types.
Is it adding cost to it, or is it just adding the,
There's a cost at the bottom, or at the,
but didn't they have badges before on the?
they didn't have it on their original contract. And
Did
so,
they have on the uniforms before?
not that I'm aware of.
Probably did it before, right?
I don't know.
I don't know, I just hadn't heard anything about this, so I didn't know right offhand. I don't know if did you talk to the sheriff about it, or? So there's a couple different badges, I guess they sold them into the uniforms, so why wouldn't that have been included in the uniform bid?
It was something that they didn't include when we were bidding it out, and so now they decided they needed to add them into their contract as needed.
just the song.
And it's not that big of an amount either, but I mean, it's, sometimes you get vehicles and all of a sudden you want a radio and tires for it. All right.
I'd be having trouble finding somebody to do it.
I don't know where they got them before.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion, and we'll give the sheriff a rough time later. I'll make a motion to sign the amendment to the service agreement for 2020-32 uniforms contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Renewal 3 of elevator maintenance and repair services.
This is the third renewal for our elevator maintenance and repair services with Otis Elevator. They're proposing a 3.5% increase, making their total $16,146. Greg's been pleased with their services over the years, and our recommendation is to renew with them.
I'll make a motion. Renewal 3 of elevator maintenance and repair services with, let me give a contractor name here,
Otis Elevator Company.
Otis Elevator Company.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Bid award on Lakewood subdivision stormwater improvements, project number 2023-201-1.
So last Friday, we opened bids for the Lakewood stormwater improvements. And GWH Landscaping read low. There was a total of 4 bids. Their total price was $537,227.68. The engineer's estimate was $422,165. And this involves improvements to the stormwater drainage system in Lakewood subdivision.
And what was the final amount, I'm sorry?
$537,227.68.
You're slipping, you were always.
I did,
coming.
this was actually a consultant project, so I've got to skate on that.
So, why were they so far off? I mean, is it their first time or what?
I think the prices are just starting to go up on
I know
everything.
they should make adjustments. I mean, you've probably been making adjustments on yours that you're getting this engineer estimates for, so. I
But
don't know why they can't learn that as well. It just makes it a lot easier. It's- You kind of know what to expect. This is 20% more than, 25% more than what the engineer's estimate was, so.
I think we're on a learning curve right now on some of these projects recently.
Well, I'd be on a learning curve too, but I'd be fine going over and being prepared for the worst. Instead of, now we got that 100,000 right there, got a difference between. That's what you're doing.
we actually
Different
had,
fund though, right? And
we actually had $750,000 budgeted for this project. The majority of this, we will finish up our ARPA funds for stormwater with it. So we will need to, I'll need to get with you on that, Debbie, but I think we'll finish out all of our ARPA funds with this project, and then whatever's left over, we can take out of our 807 budget, so.
And
So,
then,
the budgeted amount for the project was $750,
that's what we were originally looking at.
so there's some saving grace for us. Man.
And this project, it's a series of improvements out there, so, we got several of these large subdivision projects coming up where we'll do the underground infrastructure, get all that done one year, and then the next year follow up with a full overlay, so got a lot of that going on over the next few years.
All right, well, it sounds like you had a pretty good idea of where to put this price tag and for us not to be surprised, so.
Never cease to amaze you, do I, Jeff?
Yeah. We still won't let you chew gum though, because you gotta walk around. Can't let you off too easy today either. Yep, I'll get it there.
I'll make a motion to award the Lakewood subdivision stormwater improvements project number 2023-201-1 to GWH Landscape Contracting LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Approval and signing of cooperative agreement between the University of Missouri Healthcare and Cole County EMS. Chief.
Sheriff's here now too, in case you have questions about
that.
badges.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm here to help.
Your uniform.
Was your uniform contract originally done without badges?
Yes, we bought the badges in a separate vendor. But the going through Leon's is a damn sight cheaper, so that's why we changed it to them. looking out for the citizens of Cole County like I always do.
So it wasn't necessarily an amendment to the, was it an amendment to the contract?
We're adding to the contract.
But he's saying.
So they're buying them, or we're buying them and then selling them on, or,
It's not sewing, it's the metal. It's the actual badges.
oh, the actual badges,
Not
not
the-
part
not
of
the-
the uniform?
Not the goofy ones like his, but real badges, the stars.
Well, I wasn't gonna even bother you.
Just remember, I'm the good news guy.
I'm saving money, as far as you know.
We like saving money. Okay,
All right, so this is a cooperative agreement between us and the University of Missouri Healthcare to allow our upcoming EMT students to do their clinical observation at Cap Region and the University Hospital. It'll allow our EMT students to go and observe and get their clinical hours. Jill had a hand in preparing this contract and has signed off on it. They have approved, but they would like to sign us first, or like us to sign first. Happy to answer any questions. And there is some cost.
Are we breaking new ground here? Has this ever been, I'm just curious.
Yeah, so this will be the first EMT class that we have taught as an agency. We've done several emergency medical responders or EMR classes. That's a much shorter, much less in-depth version of what we're going to do, and that doesn't require any clinical time. So this was definitely a first, and as of yesterday, class is completely full, confirmed 18 students. So super excited about that.
and then we get to pick the best of
Yes,
the 18.
it will allow us an entire semester to
I see, I like
recruit
that.
and develop who we want to pick.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign the cooperative agreement between the University of Missouri Healthcare and Cole County EMS.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Bid award of 2025-14 renovations of the Cole County Fire Protection District Station Number 2.
So we had the bid opening for the renovations of Fire Station 2 in Brazito on March 27th. We had one vendor submit a response, which was GBH, and their total was $125,880. The fire district will be reimbursing the county for the exterior doors and windows, as well as half of the reflooring placement, which is option 2. So that would make our total $96,080 once all said and done.
So a couple things to keep in mind here. The budget approved in my capital budget this year was $120,000. So the base bid, which is the work that we knew we wanted to have done and the county would pay for, is the $78,600. The exterior windows and doors, since the structure is owned by the County Fire Protection District, they agreed to replace those, and their cost is $19,900 for that. And then because we were so far under what was allotted as the base budget, we did want to include a couple other options that we thought would be relevant. One of them was replacing the floor and then adding an air purification system in the apparatus bay, which cleans all the exhaust fumes and keeps them from getting into the living quarters. So once we opened the bid and we saw what the price was, we approached the Fire Protection District to see if they would be willing to pay for half of the flooring, since both agencies were fairly under budget in this, and they were agreeable to that. And then we did go ahead and decide that we wanted to do the air purification system. So all in all, our out-of-pocket cost is still at that $96,000 and some change mark. I would probably ask when we prepare the contract to put in a $10,000 contingency, since this is a remodel, and then the rest of that budget line would go to furniture and fixtures. So super happy with the way the bid came in, and we are very pleased with GBH and their previous projects. We would recommend the bid be awarded to them. Happy to answer any questions.
How long have we been out there at Station Two?
6, 7 years, something like that.
Seems long.
It might be longer than that. I don't know if that was a Chief Lindeworth thing or if that was done before him.
Pretty sure it's beforehand.
Okay, yeah.
We've
They've been out there since I've been on the department.
Okay, so then, yeah.
So we went out there and looked at that, and that 25 years old. Needs some updating and fixing.
Yeah, we think the building is about 25 years old.
I was hoping we'd get more bidders than just one, but I don't think that's way out of line. So who's picking all the flooring and paint and stuff? Y'all got to have something with the fire.
Yeah, we'll work with the fire department, get them to approve on it. And then the design was really design build, so we'll work with GBH to come up with the kitchen layout and those sorts of things.
Okay.
After redoing all the bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen, oh,
All right. I'll make a motion to award the 2025-14 renovation of the Cole County Fire Protection District Station Number 2 to GBH Builders for the $96,080. I'm just gonna stop it there. We can talk about the other 10,000 at FF&E, 'cause that'd be separate, right?
Yeah, so how do you want to do it for the full?
Second,
Okay.
yeah. I'll second that. Go ahead.
We
So-
might want to do it for the full 125 because the fire protection district is going to reimburse us.
Right.
So we'll pay GBH and then we'll get reimbursed. So you might want to reword that for the full 125 for the bid award.
I think that's probably our cleanest option.
And if you're worried, we could do an MOU with them to pay
Yeah.
us back.
That's gonna be in the works, in the lease and of the building and the whole.
If that can clean that up a little bit, then, yeah, I'll amend mine to make the award of the contract at the $125,880.
Yep.
I'll second the amended language.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, new business. Accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending your review.
A motion to approve accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Second and final reading of budget adjustment number 2.
This is for $22,990. This was the exact amount of the child support salary adjustments that we needed to do, and so we need to increase the budget on both sides. So I'd ask for approval today.
I'll make a motion to adopt budget adjustment number 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. LG inverter repair for the Pringer Family Center.
All right. Back in January, I sent you all a text, and y'all replied, get it fixed, because it was 20 degrees outside. This is off a cooperative agreement to fix it. The inverter, it's a 480 volt inverter, and it fried just about everything in the system. We expedited it, got it all fixed within a couple weeks. Finally got all the bills back, and the bills are $20,794.80. Just asking to what account number we'd like to pay this out of.
Capital improvements on that.
Is it maintenance, or are we actually buying something?
We bought 3 compressors, an inverter board, reversing valves, so
Is it gonna last for at least 5 years?
I'm not answering that.
Say yes, and then it'll be.
You hope.
Say yes, it'll be capital, okay. I was gonna actually, if we took it out of capital, I was gonna hold off on doing the tuck pointing on 209, which was approved for this year. We'll just put it off till next year.
I think it qualifies as capital.
Okay.
806, then.
I'll make a motion to approve the LG converter repair cost of Springer Center for $20,794.80.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Discussion on parks and park improvements.
So we got a lot of items to cover here today, and it's the result of our Parks Committee meeting 2 weeks ago. But before we do that, we have a special presentation. So Commissioner Helser, I know a lot of times you clip out articles from newspapers, and I know my son was in the paper one time when he was graduating and had a nice little note written on there and had your little seal and everything. And so we just felt like it was a great opportunity when we saw an article about you in the paper to return the favor. And so last summer, we dedicated the Brooks Park new playground surface, and you just happened to be caught going down the slide. So Matt and I felt like it was, we just felt like it was nice of us to return the favor and have this laminated in your favorite Chiefs colors. And, and it says, thank you for your support of Cole County Parks, and Matt and I signed it, and we also stamped it with our engineer seal. So it's not a stick-on, that's the real deal, so.
To make it official.
So cherish your great story.
We've actually had that sitting around for a while and looking for the opportune day to do it, and on April Fool's.
There you go.
Be good.
Unjust day.
You just pitch that one up there.
So, now to get a little more serious.
That might have been forgotten by now.
No. We could not forget that one. So, a little more serious, but not so much. This is just a conversation on what we discussed at the last Parks meeting, which was on March 20th. And there's several items that we're starting to look at for improvements, and we just wanted to go over these and let you know where we're at on some things. And did I hand you a copy of those? Yeah, okay. You can have one too. There's some. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. So if you look in your packet that I submitted yesterday, there's some drawings. So the first one, the city sewer department is replacing their pump station and holding tank that's part of Thanen Park. When that property was donated to the county, they had all the sewer facilities there done at that time, I believe, and it was kind of a remnant property, so the county got it and built the park. But the sewer holding tank and pump station into a force main is there, located on site. And they're doing a bunch of work in Westview right now. They just finished a gravity project, and then they're doing the force main that'll go from here all the way up to actually County Park. It'll run through Westview and on through. So a lot of items in Westview happening with that. And then, as I talked earlier, getting all the underground stuff done. We're close on Westview with South Brooks project, hopefully to come later this year. We'll be ready to overlay after this sewer project's done. But down there at the park, they're having to replace the whole everything, and it's gonna be a lot larger holding tank. Most of it's gonna be underground. Some of the fenced-in equipment area, that expands a little bit. But there's a stormwater pipe that drains from the road out to the creek underneath actually the whole park. It'll run up close to the pavilion and then go under the playground. And what we want to do is replace that pipe. It would be a road and bridge expense, so not on parks. And we're working with the consultant doing the engineering work for the sewer department. They're gonna design this pipe and bid it in with the sewer project. So won't be a whole lot of extra items that we'll have to do, but we'll have to pay for it. But we'll work that into our road and bridge budget, not a problem there. But some items with the park, the pavilion, it's almost certainly gonna have to be picked up, moved, and maybe replaced or put back where it's at. Not sure exactly how far we'll get into that, but there will be some things to the pavilion we'll have to address. Probably we can absorb that into just our regular maintenance budget. But then the playground, if you look at the aerial photo showing that, that pipe does go underneath the swing set, and half of the, not half, but a good part of that playground surfacing area. 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I think, that pipe burnt. A good part of that burnt, and we had to replace it. We just added on the best we could, knowing that we did need to replace the whole pipe at some point. So this will give us a good opportunity to replace the pipe with the sewer project. And we're looking at what it would take to replace that playground equipment. It is approaching 25 years old, maybe not quite, but it's getting close. And I know when that gets to that age, sometimes, you know, we need to consider replacement. So right now, there's no definite plans. We think we can probably just take down the swing set, put it back after the pipe's replaced, but we do need to be thinking a little more long-term about what to do with that equipment. So if the right opportunity came along, I know we met with a vendor a couple weeks ago, and they had some sales going on some of their equipment, but that was me. You weren't in on that, it was me, Kevin and Aaron, but $25,000 range maybe, and we don't have the money in the parks budget to do that, obviously, and we're expended out beyond what we had budgeted in the sales tax. So, but there is some contingency that may be available, but I think for now, the best way to approach that one is, let's just try to put things back the best we can. There may be a little parks expense to do that, maybe not, we'll just have to see how all that works out. But then we need to be thinking a little more into the future, but not too far into the future about replacement of that equipment. So, don't need any vote, I just wanted to bring that to you. In these 4 items we're gonna talk about, the Parks Committee has endorsed these projects, so they look at things and then they'll recommend to the commission. And so they recommended that we consider replacing the equipment and everything out there and move forward with the project to do the pipe. So, is there any questions about that? Okay. The next one is, if you flip a few pages down, you'll see the Powell Fields entrance. And I'm gonna say roughly 7, 8 years ago, we drew this up, knowing that we need to widen that entrance at some point. And this year, we're gonna be overlaying County Park Road, and so that presents the opportunity to do it. And the drawing, it doesn't look like a whole lot, but that entrance is very tight turning into, and it's almost too tight for 2 cars to pass right at the entrance. And so while we're overlaying County Park Road, we'll just pick that up at the same time. We'll have to replace the pipe underneath the approach, and then there's a gate right now that Powell uses, but it's open most of the time. We'll communicate with them on what they want to do with that, put it back, or we suggest actually moving it down to where their lease area starts, which is at the first baseball field, and reconfigure a little bit of that. So we'll work with them on that, but there will be a little bit of expense to parks for this, to do some of the widening. Should be pretty minimal, but just wanted to let you know that and see if you had any comments or questions about it. Okay. The next item, and I would like an action on this, so, and this will get into a conversation on where to take the money from, but we have been paying attention to the asphalt trail that goes around the lake, and it's getting to the point that we need to do a seal coat on it. The last one was done maybe 10 years ago or so, and I know the trail, the original asphalt's been there probably 25, 30 years. It's been a while. So rather than have to do an overlay, we've been doing these preventative seal coats, and it's time to do that. Matt got an estimate from the company that did a lot of the parking lot work and has done some work for us in the past, and to do that, it's $4,590. And this would be, in our opinion, a capital improvement. And again, we've expended out all of the funds of the allotment in the current sales tax for parks. And so if the commission is willing to, we would request that money be taken out of contingency to pay for the seal coat. It would be preferable to do it now rather than wait till the next sales tax period. That would be 2 years down the road. So, and this will cover the entirety of the asphalt trail, which picks up that there's concrete. Well, the part that we redid with the parking lot, that's concrete, and then the part that runs along the dam's concrete, but the rest of it's asphalt.
That seems really cheap. Inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean, it's, for what we get out of it, it'll buy us a lot of time, and so I think that's a pretty good use of those funds.
And this company we used here at the courthouse annex when we sealed this parking lot, we did the health department with them. I actually contacted him last fall to get an estimate, and then when I contacted him a couple weeks ago, he actually left the price the same. So he said he enjoyed working with us, and he'd like to continue doing work for us. So
It'll also crack fill
Yeah,
everything
they'll
too.
crack fill what they need to, and then they'll seal everything up, so.
I do have a proposal that if the commission's willing to move forward with it, signing the acceptance of the proposal. And again, we would request this come out of the 806 sales tax for capital improvements.
Gonna get 25 years out of this one.
Probably not, but hopefully at least 10.
I don't know, I just see this as part of the parks budget, and I know it's not a very big budget. So I'm trying to justify doing this out of 806.
We do have maintenance funds in the parks budget. I want to say it's $10,000. So if there's concern, we could go ahead and just take it out of the maintenance line item. And then if we run up against the, the end of the year and we're short, maybe we'd have to transfer some money into that.
But you want to do it this year to
Yeah.
get it sealed up and stuff, so it doesn't get another winter on it.
Preventative maintenance used to be either a GR or a 211 expense, road and bridge 211 expense, but as time has gone on, those budgets can't support preventative maintenance on our roadways, and so that's become a capital improvement, which it's questionable whether that's a capital improvement or just maintenance, but that's how it's evolved.
So I'm okay going forward with this today. Let's do something on it to keep it from deteriorating and being a bigger project. But it's a fitness trail. So are there grants or something we can go out there, same with the playground equipment you were talking about. And maybe I'm not gonna put this on them as much as even us. We need to look at going after some of that money that's out there and getting some of those things. I don't necessarily want to hire somebody to write grants, but if there's a way we can, if somebody finds a grant and they do the administration of it, then they make that's where they make their money. Put it out there if they have something that we can use. I just think there's some stuff we're losing out on, and I know you guys got plenty of other stuff to do than just sitting there filling out the applications and then administering the grants themselves.
Well, we could look, grant money's gonna dry up, it is drying up, so.
We do have a few paths there, and this will be more of the next conversation, item number 4, but the Land and Water Conservation Fund, that's funded a lot of park improvements, and I think the last one was Brooks Park that we used to do the playground out there. And I know there's I think it's called a Recreational Trails Program, RTP maybe, through DNR. So there's different programs like that. I think most of the time it's for building new. This Land and Water Conservation Fund, it does talk about rehabilitation and restoration. I think if we're gonna get a grant for this trail, to do the trail, it would be replacing it with concrete. That's probably where you'd get a grant for, maybe not so much just preventative maintenance.
I think today's newspaper has a picture of the city working on an extension of a trail on South Country Club.
Yes.
And did it come through TAP money?
That's the TAP, yes.
TAP.
Can you use TAP on a park, or does it have to be along a roadway?
Can we do that outside this conversation?
Okay, sure. But yeah, that's, those things are out there too, but I think they're more along the roadway.
They may be, because it's almost transportation money that they've shifted over to
Yeah.
recreation/pedestrians, right?
Well, and TAP is your Transportation Alternative Program. So it does go towards your sidewalks, your greenways, alternative modes of transportation.
Okay. May not fit here.
And I'm not talking about just government grants and stuff. I mean, there are other foundations and stuff out there that will give stuff towards fitness or youth programs, and, we may have to do some things to encourage more youth out there, and count how many actually use it, but it's just an idea, and this wasn't a huge amount, but every little bit adds up.
Yes.
So, trying to throw that out there, because we're gonna start seeing the cost of things go up, and this morning was one of them, and we're still okay. We had budgeted more than that. So that was our saving grace there.
Well, and the one nice thing about a seal coat like this, because it is preventive maintenance, it will extend the life of what we got existing so that we can plan a little better, start looking at more grants if we do want to replace it with
By 5
concrete.
years out,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is the way I
Leave it the
look
way
at
it is,
it.
and we get 2 years, and then it becomes a problem if we don't mitigate it now.
Right,
More issues arise.
right.
So, just throwing it out there, because right now,
Yeah, check and
will
see if you.
806 work for that, Debbie, then, since it's,
If it increases the value for at least 5 years, it can still be, that's what the state offers.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that it'll get us 5 years. I mean, the thing about that, as long as you keep the surface, you know, from getting water in it, you can usually extend the life of asphalt pretty good. Doesn't have any weight on it really, just.
Right.
Yeah. So I do have this proposal here from them, and if,
that's the precision seal coat.
I'll make a motion to sign the services agreement with Precision Seal Coating Services for $4,590.
Yeah, 4590. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
okay, and the last item on, that we discussed at the Parks meeting last week, and Harry knows from, you know, being on the Parks Committee that we've talked about this for some time now. But looking a little more immediate future, we're looking to do a new playground and restroom out at County Park. And as we start looking at this and start laying out where it might go, the drawing is where we've kind of zeroed in on with the Parks Committee. Playground would be kind of centered between the pavilion, or bordered between the pavilion, the new parking lot, and then ultimately down at the lake. And we would also want to put a bathroom up here. The bathroom right now, being down the hill from the pavilion, is kind of, it's inconvenient and it's old. And so a new bathroom would be a good thing to do in conjunction with a new playground. So this would have to be a grant type project. And I had mentioned that Land and Water Conservation Fund, that is through, I guess it's through DNR, the Parks Department and DNR. And it's actually a federal Department of Interior National Park Service grant. They oversee the whole program. But there's different things, and it can be for, primarily for development or construction of new outdoor recreational amenities. And this would apply, the last one we did was Brooks Park, when we got the playground there. It's a 50-50 match, and our 50% can also be in-kind services and donated items. So the thing about this, though, as we start to lay this out, part of the ranking formula that they use is how well the applications fit together. And to come up with a budget number for this, we feel that we're gonna have to do a little design work to figure out what's gonna fit on that hillside. It would be a couple different tiers of playground surface. It has to be flat, obviously. I mean, there can be a little grade to it, but most of the playground area has to be flat. So we would want to hire a company, whether, I don't know who exactly does that other than a landscape architect. It's probably the main type of company that would do like a playground design. So we would start looking at that. The cycle for these grants is they come open in August of every year. And I think it's every year, maybe every other, but, and then they're due in November. So we don't really think we're in a position to do that this year. We're gonna have to wait till the following year. So put it on your radar. We're gonna want to do some design work ahead of time to have an estimate and a schematic of what might be able to fit there. And then also tie in that bathroom. Now, the bathroom, Matt has some experience using those on conservation properties in his previous employment, and they're basically, they come pre-built or whatever, and then you just set them on the pad with the plumbing and everything there, so.
OA does have a contract for privies / bathrooms that we could pull off of, so.
So we can fit that one in pretty much on our own. I don't know that we need anybody to design that necessarily, but the playground's gonna get a little more complex. Not just because it's on a hill, just because to get a good budget number, we would feel more comfortable with that. And then ultimately, we'll have to hire somebody to do it anyway, so.
So it'll be 2026 before.
Probably want to apply in 2026, knowing that we would use the new sales tax, assuming it's passed, use those funds to pay for that. So,
Makes sense, you know, it's very inconvenient now and maybe ADA non-compliant where we have the facilities down the hill and up the hill is the pavilion and pretty well inconvenient and it needs to be up there. Does it replace or add to the existing?
I think we just leave the current bathroom there. We'll
Leave it
just,
there.
yeah, now the playground where it's at, it's back in the corner, away from the parking lot a little ways. It's not ADA, it's just got the bark mulch in there, and there's no swings that are ADA really, so it's dated. I think the equipment there was hand-me-downs from something years ago, so it's
That,
time.
Playground area is gonna be a challenge for that landscape engineer person, I think, because of the grade elevation change.
Yeah.
See
And
what
it
happens.
may turn out that they say you really don't want to put it here, put it where the current one is. But those kinds of questions, I think, would be better answered by a professional than us. Not that we're not professionals, but not in this arena, so. Any questions about that anymore? Any comments?
That might be something for the 250th anniversary committee to be a part of too. Depending on how much money we have, to put some money into it as part of our 250th birthday
Right.
for Cole County, since it is a Cole County committee, so I might suggest that to our committee.
One item, a good segue into what I did want to mention in closing is the Parks Committee, we have discussed forming a foundation, Parks Foundation. Jefferson City has one with their parks, and it's an avenue to take donations to put towards projects like this. And we've done some initial investigation. There's a little bit of legal work that needs to be done in advance, and then filing of some paperwork with the IRS, I believe. Harry, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So we can talk to some attorneys and we can get the legal work donated. So shouldn't be a big deal. We just need to maybe have a meeting at some point to determine what that might look like exactly.
Even though the legal work might be donated, the IRS makes you pay
Yeah.
just to file.
Just to file.
It's $600 and change, last I looked.
Okay.
To file the application for recognition of exemption. So, unless the attorney is really charitable.
Yeah. So I know there's been some talk on the committee about, doing some fundraisers and, ways to start raising some money and I think, as we start looking at these improvements, I think, a foundation's gonna wanna look at, things like adding playground facilities, that kind of thing, and maybe not so much the trail maintenance, but other things that add to the whole parks, itself. So it's a good opportunity to maybe get a little more, not recognition, but, get it out there that, hey, we do have a park system in the county. It's small, but it's very nice, and we're making improvements, and there's people out there that like to donate to those types of things, and it's a good way to bring in some funds that maybe we're not capturing that are out there.
Yeah, that proposed playground there, that's a significant size.
Yes.
And then doing that bathroom up there too. I was just looking at some of the different grants. There's some through their state parks, recreational trails program, land and water conservation fund grants. I know that it's gonna be a headache probably dealing with them and having to jump through the hoops to get it, but for a park that big, we might have to do something like that.
Yeah, I think the only way we do this is a grant, so, but figuring out who does what, I mean, the last one we did it in-house, it can be very cumbersome managing those, so, like Jeff, I think you mentioned earlier, that if you had somebody that, we we just hired on an hourly basis to help write it and then help make sure we're meeting all benchmarks for reporting and everything. That would be helpful.
Yes, wonderful park.
Yeah, it's highly utilized, especially with the new parking lot and everything out there. It gets a lot of use. So, any further questions?
Nope.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Okay. Final approval of purchase of airband radios for EMS.
So, this is pretty informal, but we need to purchase a few airband radios, which will allow us to communicate directly with the air traffic control tower at the airport. We've had a couple incidents where we've needed to respond onto the airport, and we don't have any way to get clearance or permission to do so. This was included in my capital budget. But basically, they're being bought off a vendor online. I know Debbie's gonna love this, but we'll need to use a P card. I don't have a quote or anything, but since it is coming out of capital, I just wanted to get approval. The cost is $1,145.
So are we allowed to go over to the airport?
Yeah, so we have an auto aid agreement with Callaway County. If the call originates within the jurisdiction of the Jeff City Fire Department, we will respond. And basically, whoever gets there first will start rendering aid, and we'll work it out from there.
Yeah, I know at one time we were not,
Yeah, that's-
not able to go into Callaway.
Yeah, that's been rectified.
Give me an example of, when you couldn't make this contact. What was the occasion?
Yeah, so there was a helicopter that had a hard landing off the end of the runway about a year ago now. The fire department has these radios in their command vehicle, so they were able to proceed out there. And then we had to communicate with the fire department to get permission. So basically, we were relying on the fire department to be the link in the communication chain. So it would just be nice to be able to do that.
Got it.
Yep.
Good.
All right.
So, do we have
I don't have a quote.
Okay.
Yeah, we're buying from a vendor offline, but I just wanted to bring it since it's coming out of capital, so you guys could say you're aware.
Okay.
Go forward.
Go forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I,
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have anything else to come before us? Then I want to entertain a motion to stand in recess until 2 p.m.
I'll make that motion that the commission stand in recess until the 2 p.m. meeting to discuss the senior tax freeze discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.